like you, where I saved my old speech, to make sure it's taller tap and all that. And I kind of read over what some of the things that I had envisioned that I would do when I first got here. And I thought it was kind of a long list at the time, but the accomplishments we've achieved since then have far exceeded that list. And frankly, some of that stuff that we've accomplished, I couldn't have predicted if my life depended on it. And I'm not sure I would have taken this job if I'd have known all the stuff that you guys were going to get put through. And it's all positive, because some of the stuff this base has gone through in the last 2 years, you might as well turn this base upside down for the better. Major Ostiff, I wish he was here. I invited him to the party. But actually, he said he was very surprised in a positive way when he got here, because he'd heard all the horror stories about McGuire. And I said, well, by the way, those horror stories are true, but we've achieved that and what you see here. He sees a lot of construction going on. A lot of people have heard good things about McCord. McCord is a good area, but there's no new construction going on. He looked around here. Everywhere he's looking, he's seeing new construction. And I'm showing him, like the building, 2218 that he walked by. He was very impressed. That's better than anything they have at McCord. And this is what we call home. I took him by MQTP, and even the safety guys were very pleased with the things that you guys have done down there, and the obstacles you've overcome. I've made mention, like Ms. Hargroves reminds me to tell anybody that wants to listen, all the times we've moved in the last 3 years. And you do that, and you keep the mission going. And I made mention of the fact that, by the way, the command couldn't get their act together, so the training flight took the whole command's burden to bring the KC-10s online and basically train the commander, set the standard for the command. They're not equipped for that, they don't have the people for that, and virtually they just coordinated the whole command, brought them in for whatever they needed, and accomplished that. Lyndon, when we first got here, she was a little reluctant. You feel out the new commander and see what they're like. Apparently in days past, we haven't fully appreciated what analysis can do for you, between what quality has done and the caliber of people down in that section, even the wing commander. In fact, sometimes he says, well, you in analysis section, and sometimes he doesn't even realize what everybody else does, because she directly feeds to the wing commander and gives him a pulse of how the airplanes are flying. Plans and scheduling, sometimes they still think they work for the ops group and keep the ops group straight, which is fine as long as they realize that P&S is leading the scheduling of airplanes. I don't care who they think they work for, because they're doing their part for the mission. TODO, that little Sleepy Hollow back there, everybody doesn't even know exists. That's like the Bible for everything we do in the airplane business, and those have to be right. And so Betty and Chuck back there, they just keep grinding out. We've got this situation with QA working for the LG. Do they work for LSS? At the point now, it's kind of like they're blended. They do their thing, but there's no hostility between the two. If we need to cooperate on something because of our small numbers, we do that. The first sergeant, we didn't have a first sergeant when I got here. That was one of the goals that I said, if I can do this, I'm going to try to do this, because the squadron needs that kind of relief. Not that you weren't able to handle it, but it's like that. Everything they were asking in the first sergeant business, they were asking you guys to do that in addition to your job. And I said, there's enough of that we deserve a first sergeant. So when he came in, he's doing some of that stuff that before we were having to go down and pull Master Sergeant X from various sections to do that. Engine management. I know the engine side is going down a little bit. They're virtually working with 3 people down there. I venture to say a lot of people in the squadron have never even been down there, but they're just as much a part of what we do as any other section with only 3 people. So all of us, programs mobility, those 4 guys, I'm surprised I haven't been lynched or fragged many months ago with all the stuff that I didn't realize hits that fan. And if you go outside of LSS, most people think, oh, you're just a 9-to-5 paperwork squadron. Well, I'd venture to say most of them couldn't keep up with some of the schedules in programs mobility, or when you guys get cranking, they can't put out all the fires that you guys are putting out. The orderly room, it's not a normal orderly room. It's the biggest group on base's orderly room admin section. Charmaine would like only to have the commander or the first sergeant task her, but she doesn't. She's got 8 commanders interfacing with her. She's got all the sections in the squadron. in addition to a normal small squadron's business. And they don't get any more people to do that. So I realize, and Colonel Sotak realized, that there's not enough people to do all the taskings that you do. It kind of occurred to me last week when I was sitting at the 745, one of the ones that I was awake for, and I looked over and saw those trophies that are sitting there. I have never been in a base that won the AMC Dedallion Award. And I always wondered, well, you know, I thought that was just one of those mechanical things. Okay, you won it last week, you won it this time. Well, if it takes what we did in the last year to win that kind of trophy, I understand why that's such a prestigious trophy, because of all the stuff that we were able to accomplish here. The ORI, we got the excellent. I saw all the mistakes that we were making just because of the pace that was set up on. And I don't know if a lot of folks realize, when the general made mention that this was a hard ORI, that wasn't a political statement. That was specifically designed to be the hardest. I'm not sure the command knew if we were going to pass or not, because they designed it so hard. They want to see if AMC can step up to a tasking where you go to 6 different bases at once. That's never been done before. I've been on a lot of ORIs, and I've never seen it. So I'm here to tell you that was the most difficult one I've ever been on. And the whole squadron stepped up to it. The couple days before I left, I walked around the squadron, and nobody was in the same position as what their normal duty stations are, the MQTP guys. That AGS commander came to me personally and thanked me for these instructors that everybody says, they're just training guys, what do they know? Well, after they went out and augmented his force, he says, now I know why, you know, we give you good people, because of the wealth of knowledge that you have in the training section. So people are starting to come around to realize, yes, we're small in numbers, and maybe you don't see what we do every day, but without each of us doing our own part, the rest of the group wouldn't work. And the biggest compliment that this squadron has honored me with is when you all took the Excellence Award and I was asked to leave the room. That was the scariest thing that I had done, because I knew how good you were, but generally you don't get the polish and all that kind of stuff. You use a shirt or Mueller at the time to do the spokes. Well, this is the occasion where you guys get up and you told these people, these judges, how good each of the other sections were. Nobody ever said, my section's this good. It was analysis talking about QA, QA talking about MQT, MQT talking about TO, et cetera, et cetera. That is what the guy came back and told me that. He says, I was amazed, and that was not choreographed, because I guess we were still a little rough around the edges, but it was the way that each of you handled that situation that sold it. And he said, the other commanders were asked to leave too. They couldn't bring themselves to leave. I didn't know I had a choice, so I left. But you guys stepped up to the plate, articulated what it is we do every day, and came away with the top honors. And we're still a small squadron. These are, 400 or 500 man squadrons we were competing with. So you guys, that was the trophy that you guys earned yourselves. And I thank all of you for that. And Colonel O'Brien told me when I got here, and he told my wife, I'm going to take your husband for 2 years, and you get him in 2 years. But in the meantime, you may not see him very much. So I appreciate her. I guess we managed to get together one time with that little baby there. But, I appreciate her keeping the home fires burning and keep raising my daughter and my son while I've been over at the squadron late at night. And I thank all the civilians and military that have supported this squadron. So with that, I thank you, and let's play ball. Thank you.